didn't want to touch the screen. I feel like I make it mad. One of the cogitator's vid screens turn red. Pascal sees this and raises his hand, signaling to the rest of the tech priest, then withdraws a connector from his sleeve and connects it to the machine. Servants of the Omnissiah make now the offering of cleansed data crypts to the machine spirit so that it may be filled with their true and calibrated data. May the Omnissiah have mercy on our souls. The acolytes offer up the cleansed data crypts to the warp engine one after another, repeating prayers of exaltation. After anointing the contracts, Pascal inserts them into the cogitator's slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy censor's foul-smelling cloud of smoke, and from the loss of blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you. The world swims before your eyes. Let the mechanism awaken in renewed purity. Pascal enters a sequence of commands and raises his head, watching the vid screen. Suddenly he stops dead. No! His fingers fly over the command runes, entering command after command. His mechadendrites clicking their pincers pull at one lever after another. The vid screen fills with the strings of symbols, completely incomprehensible, but clearly conveying something to the magos. Is everything all right? After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitator begins to emit a spark. A moment later, another data crypt does the same. The next bursts into flames and gives off a foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnissiah's servants break off from their prayers, and some burst into frantic pleading. Pascal mournfully grates out, "The massive errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositories. Offering did not appease the ship's spirits. A warp engine cannot be filled with motive force. We're trapped. Perhaps an alternative Ryzen protocol, or an emergency launch of the auxiliary coils." The tech priest bends over the cogitators, but something in his pose and movement reveal his desperation. While other vid screens are filled with more and more strings of symbols, the monitor in front of you blinks and the static image changes. Pascal is too engrossed in the ritual to notice. Unpack. True, false, check. Hey, Pascal? Pascal turns to you, his flickering visor betraying his anxious state. Lord Captain he stops when he sees the vid screen. Distorted transmissions from the data core, most likely residual cognitive functions of the built-in servitors of Omnissiah, shield us from the machine ghosts. He returns to manipulating the cogitator's command runes. Hey, machine spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator servants creaks quietly in its joints, a sound that is drowned out by the Benharic hymns and tapping of command runes. Okay, so injury rescue query. Oh, hello, machine spirit. In the name of Omnissiah, the Emperor, useless No. We're not gonna go with 4. Machine spirit, this is the Lord Captain. Obey me instead. No. Yes, rescue. Lord Captain, the excess emotion of your command will render it unintelligible too. Pascal's next vocalization goes unsynthesized as he sees the vid screen begin to stabilize one after another. The string frenetically galloping across the green backgrounds are replaced with stable images or regularly updating status reports. Only one monitor remains inexplicably red. The tech priest Vox crackles in shock, but his report is clipped and clinical as ever. Registering warp sextant activated, registering data stream stabilizing, registering 0 data errors found, reporting the warp engine is ready for translation. After a pause, he adds, I'm also reporting evidence indicating a category 3 miracle fulfilling the criterion. Now shall witness the mechanism that toils in glorification of its functions and in defiance of deactivation. Lord Captain, Rabber here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier. I've just received confirmation from the engineering halls. I don't know what you did, but the warp engine's up and raring to go. We're ready to begin the translation to warp. What just happened? Like, literally what just happened? I hypothesized that the ship's spirit heard our prayer and intervened. It summoned a power of the Omnissiah to do something beyond my comprehension. Like, here's the thing, though. This is coming on the heels, too, of the Vox skull, or, like, just when we were in the warrant of trade room, and it reacted to Tessera differently than it ever had to Auntie. So this is really interesting now. So now you've got the ship recognizing her in a way that doesn't make sense. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. Like, there is definitely something more going on here than meets the eye. It appears the Omnissiah perceives and knows the power of your faith. No. I know little of the Omnissiah sacred machines. What I saw on the screen looks strange. As non-standard output of information lost in the data core, the servitors used data conduits are not always fully lobotomized. Fragments of their thoughts can appear even in pure code. You fall silent, immersed in thought. It appears the Omnissiah perceives and knows the power of your faith, Pascal. He would not have worked this miracle otherwise. I hope he'll grant me the revelation that will allow me to comprehend the nature of this miracle. Alright, let's contact Ravor. Waiting for you to ascend to the captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us. Apparently, may the ship protect us. I wonder if we were able to rescue anybody. So I definitely think we have, if Onric is a romanceable character, I definitely think we have made that not possible. But then again, maybe still though, maybe he will be like, you could do like a rival mance or something with him, or it still would be interesting to have somebody like him fall in love with Tess, given that she just argued with him in unimaginable ways. I love these cutscenes. They're so cool. Oh. I think, are we moving chapters now? I think so.
House von Valancia's flagship left the doomed star system. As the void ship made its way deeper into the Coronis expanse, the rogue trader's subjects bid farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancias. Having paid their last respects and mourned the past, the people mustered their strength and turned their eyes toward the future.
Who was that was just talking? Because that voice acting was incredible. Like, who was that? I need to meet them. We still got our weapons out. Okay. I wonder if I just kind of have some kind of like weird weapon bug right now, which is very possible. Or else everybody's just feeling extra violent on the ship, which is also entirely possible. Okay, I think this might be where we started the alpha now, because this text so far kind of looks like something we've already seen. But let's keep going. Lord Captain, allow me to report. Our journey through the warp is coming to an end. Lady Navigator Orcelio informs me. Yes, I do believe that that's what this is. We've reached the point where we can translate to real space in the Forbundus system. The Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the process. This system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf in the Coronis Expanse. The tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp and allow the servants of the Omnissiah to heal the void ship's wounds in the dock. The prayers and rituals will take some time, with which our astropathic choir will use to establish a connection with the prime world of your protectorate, Dargonis, Janus, and Kiava Gamma. Master Zachary Wise has recovered an invitation previously adrift in the Immaterium. The Liege of Footfall has humbly requested an audience with the rogue trader of the von Valancias dynasty. According to Master Zachary, the message was tinted with shades of pleading. I quote, apparently the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible. Footfall, the place where filth and sanctity go hand in hand. Reverend Harmonius Doloroso will most likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he'll be interested in talking with you as well. I'll be leaving your void ship when we arrive on Footfall. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisitor's task complete. Before I leave you, Tessera, he produces a small device wrapped in velvet. I was supposed to deliver this to Lady Theodora, but considering the circumstances, I'm giving it to you. This is an elucidator, a machine, a sacred machine that can translate the language of distant and lost worlds to Imperial Gothic. It's even capable of handling Xenos languages up to a point. There may be flaws in the translation, but overall the meaning should be clear. I hereby inform the rogue trader that over the course of the comprehensive rite of the system inspection, this unit discovered data within the captain's cogitator that is concealed from prying eyes by means of a personal cipher and the sacrament of algorithmic authorization. Unit Tessera von Valencius has been added to the access list and assigned the designator Keeper 2. The data can be accessed from the captain's cogitator under the condition that the unit possesses the decryption key. You detect a hint of something resembling curiosity. Are you leaving us? The arrangement between the Lord Inquisitor and your predecessor was that I be transported to Footfall and no farther. I dare not take advantage of your generosity and patience any more than I already have. You're a skilled fighter. I could use such men. Would you like to extend your stay? Thank you for the offer, but I must decline. I'm afraid my duty before the Golden Throne comes before anything else. All right. Argenta, who is this that wants to talk to me? He's the head of the Darusian mission on Footfall and one of the most prominent clergymen in the sector. Paying him a visit is a good thing for any loyal servant of the Emperor to do. I assisted his mission before I joined Lady Theodora on her voyage. I need his blessing to accompany the new rogue trader of the von Valencius dynasty. If you wish me to have me aboard the void ship, I request that we meet with him. Yes. Fantastic. Will do. Vigdis, anything else? This is valuable. The Forbundus is valuable due to its close proximity to the Maw, gateway to the Imperium. The system is mostly known for Footfall, the main base for merchants, privateers, and rogue traders traversing the Coronis Expanse. Additionally, the star itself is orbited by an Adeptus Mechanicus station, which is off limits to outsiders, that is. Alter Templum Calix EXT7. I had the honor of tending to this shrine for a few thousand cycles. Oh, wow. I suggest you abstain from visiting it, as most tech comrades at the station are engaged in meditative calculations that should not be interrupted. Footfall is a brief stop. What happens next? As soon as we solve the issue plaguing the ship and establish contact with the key worlds of your protectorate, the time will come for your ascension, the official ceremony of donning the mantle of rogue trader. It is mostly a formality at this point. You already possess all the privileges granted by the warrant. And yet, it is a major milestone in your personal history. The moment your name graces the list of the heads of the von Valencius dynasty. We're all looking forward to that day. Abelard, anything I should know? Tokara is a very peculiar young man. Consider your upcoming conversation a baptism of fire in Footfall's political arena. Yay! I love it. Such things are not spoken out loud, but Liege Tokara is the appointee of the Casbilica mission, the largest robber baron crime syndicate. Ooh! They specialize in cold trade, the buying and selling of all kinds of Xeno rubbish. Footfall was previously run by a liege who did business with several criminal factions at once, but he suffered an accident. The reins of power were picked up by Tokara, whose appointment benefits not only the Casbilica, but also their most powerful ally, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. He's slippery yet very cautious fellow. He does not usually beat around the bush and does not play mind games. Perhaps more importantly, he is no fool. Fools do not rise to the head of the in the Casbilican hierarchy. Keep all this in mind. You're a rogue trader. You stand above him in status, wield considerable power. Having said that, history has seen cases where the Casbilican barons crossed swords with rogue traders and emerged victorious. Do not forget that and remain vigilant. Vile tech thieves. Pascal's Vox barks out the last word like a profanity. Why does the liege want to see me so badly? Not you personally. He wishes to meet the rogue trader of the von Valencius dynasty. Tokara does not know about Lady Theodora's death and is simply seeking an audience with the powers that be. My gut is telling me that something must be very wrong in Footfall if our astropath managed to read such strong emotions in such an anodyne message. We have no information, Lord Captain. The broadcast from the Footfall astropathic choir was the only missive Master Zachary has received lately. Tell the Lady Navigator to... Oh, what do we need to know? It's the largest port of the trading capital of the Coronis Expanse. It has a dockyard that will allow us to inspect and repair the void ship. It boasts its own astropathic choir and the Coronis Expanse communications nexus. Not to mention pirate hideouts, smuggler caches, forts belonging to a dozen gangs, groups, and factions. In the Coronis Expanse, the Imperium relies on this as its outpost. The fringes of humanity's domain rarely resemble its central world, but so long as Footfall serves the God Emperor, insofar as it can, it will be considered a citadel of the Imperium. Although I have heard that the tithes it sends are underwhelming, to say the least. Due to Footfall's remoteness, it has developed its own rules and customs. Many of the goods that can be procured there would be considered heresy in the heart of the Imperium, enough to warrant summary execution. Moreover, Footfall is the domain of the rogue traders, who transcend certain Imperial laws by virtue of the warrant they bear. Then tell Lady Navigator I give her leave to make transition to warp, or in the warp to real space. Victus begins issuing instructions. The massive ship appears to change with her every word. The bridge is set into motion as hundreds of people start preparing for the shift to real space, and measured chanting fills the corridors to safeguard the vessel and its crew. One more thing, Lord Captain. No one at the station knows about Lady Theodora's demise and you inheriting the title. Liege Tokara will be informed it is required so he can use the dock, and besides, he's expecting a personal audience with the rogue trader. He will not meet with an unknown person of unclear standing. However, there is still a matter of announcing your arrival. You can either arrive on the station with proper pomp and ceremony or choose to visit incognito. How will these choices benefit me? According to Footfall's unwritten laws, rogue traders enjoy special privileges that exceed even the power of the liege. However, they may choose not to exercise those privileges in certain situations. Arriving incognito will give you more room for maneuver, while an official visit will allow you to directly intervene in local affairs. I shall explain, if you do not mind. According to the unwritten rule, every rogue trader arriving at the station has the right to veto any of the liege's decisions, but there is a catch. The Coronis Expanse is home to several influential rogue trader dynasties, and Footfall is where their interests intersect. Of course, that does not prevent certain persons, namely Caligos Winterscale, from subtly pulling the strings in Footfall. If you, as a new rogue trader, start your career with an official landing and a parade in your honor, the other dynasties may see this gesture as a newcomer challenging their sphere of influence. I don't see that as a bad thing necessarily. Old man Winterscale may take slight offense. Corda will be put on her guard, but you've just risen to prominence, and most people in the Coronis Expanse have not even heard about Lady Theodora's departure. It must be made clear that the banner von Valencia soars high as ever. If I may, I would recommend arriving incognito. You'll have plenty of opportunities to savor the sweetness and the burden of power, but right now is the last time you can take refuge in obscurity. This way, your arrival will not draw attention, and the people will treat you as a person, not the almighty sovereign anointed by the Emperor. It could turn some situations to your advantage. I know we did this in the Alpha too, but I do prefer the idea of arriving incognito. It'll be done, Lord Captain. With your gracious permission, I will return to my duties. Seriously? Victus is the best. So, that's where they are. So, does our good friend, who, is he not on the bridge anymore? No, oh, he's right here. Sorry. I just wanted to know if he has, if anybody has any new dialogue. To what do I owe the visit? I know nothing about you. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself? His face momentarily split by a sarcastic grin. I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world. Gerson III. Gerson III, I think it'd be more what it is. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained, and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium. Do you remember your home planet? I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Gerson III when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the black ship. So how'd you discover your abilities? Like many psychers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. He falls silent and then sighs and reluctantly continues. My great aunt had a pet grink. One day it bit me and I boiled it from the inside out. The interrogator looks away and adds more quietly, and when my great aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too. I don't know what I'm more surprised by, the absurdity of the story or the fact that you're capable of showing you have Tess. Sorcerer's powers are... I mean, we're technically that dangerous too, Tess. I expected a more dramatic story. I don't know. I kind of want 2 or 3. I expected a more dramatic story, or I don't know what I'm more surprised by. I kind of expected a more dramatic story. He lets out a dry chuckle. If I were to summon a demon or rain down fire on everyone's head, we wouldn't be standing here talking right now. However, Tessera, I took the life of a family member. In my opinion, that's more than enough drama. Tell me about the black ship. Picture a vast prison ship filled with frightened, angry psychers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers. Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echoes of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall the episode to this day. So you were sent to the Inquisition straight after training? No. First, I was accorded the status of psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterwards that I became an agent of the Golden Throne. We'll talk about something else. How long have you served? Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte, so decades, he shrugs. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. When I return from a journey through the warp, I often discover that much more or much less time has passed in real space. For someone who's been in service for decades, you certainly... Oh, is this flirting? Are we flirting? Do we get to flirt? Oh, I'm so excited. The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the process of their own body, including aging. He smiles crookedly. I have endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today. That's not flirting. You didn't flirt back. Flirt back next time. You visited many worlds, I'd wager? Indeed, I visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light, and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greater of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terra, the might of Mars, and the grandeur of the segmented worlds, or the segments' other worlds. What duties have you carried out? The interrogator returns your look and smiles. But thanks to the expression in his ice-cold eyes, the effect is rather unnerving. You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you? I like him. Why do I like him? Oh, no. Oh. Like, I like him a little too much. Oh, no. You're not the Inquisitor's only acolyte, right? Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises of dozens of people, the best of the best, experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally, others I've never met. His expression becomes pensive and he seems to look through you to something beyond. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Cronus Expanse, I've been working alone. So if you're an interrogator, does that mean you hold a special position? We're not in a retinue, Tessera. We are acolytes. As for your question, I'm closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne. Are the other acolytes in the Cronus Expanse? His eyes narrow at you and release a disappointed sigh. After several seconds of silence, you realize that you will not be getting an answer. Like, honestly, needling him is becoming one of my new favorite things. What can you do as a psyker? The Lord Inquisitor was most insistent that I master the discipline of the Sanctic Daemonology. I use my faith and my power to crush enemies of the Imperium. Servants of chaos tremble at the sound of the Emperor's name uttered by my lips. I'm also a skilled biomancer. I can manipulate bodily processes sometimes. Sometimes I resort to those skills in the course of my work when it's necessary to make the subject of an interrogation more cooperative. Okay. Like, you can definitely annoy the crap out of him, and I love every second of it. Lord Captain, let's talk about things that may be useful to me as the rogue trader. A noble aspiration. I'm ready to acquaint you with the particulars that interest you. Our previous Master of Whispers, what can you tell me about it? Actually, hold on. I want to know more about you. As you wish, what would you like to know? Do you have family? I'm a widower. I'm a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonis. None of my children expressed any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship. I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps. What were you before you became Theodora Seneschal? I used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job, it was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind I'm still an Imperial officer. I met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission when the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcements to the rogue trader's army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then that after the mission's completion I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy and join the rogue trader's personal council. It was a difficult choice for me, but I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need to tell me, you do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force, one who had built a protectorate amidst the danger and the wildness of the expanse. Were you in love with her? What? He appears to have lost the power of speech. Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and borderlining on insulting. Utterly baseless. Uh-huh. He was in love with her. That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. I have no more questions. Until next time. Oh, that was so funny. He was so offended. He had no idea what to say to us. Were you in love with her? What? Hey, Pascal. Can we talk? I'm like super curious. I want to know the truth about you. The mechadendrites coil around the tech priest's chest and shoulders if trying to protect him. The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagos Emernaut, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from the sacred dogma. What are you gonna do next? I was wrong when I assumed it was the blessing of the Archmagos who assumed the guise of Abel Hanneman, but there is a connection between him and the Reverend Abel, and I intend to uncover the nature of this link. What did Emernat do? He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge, and the blessed Emernat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain lore, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things. My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated, that ritual is nothing but a cage for souls and false worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all of humanity at the end of it. Certain aspects of the Imperium have indeed ossified. His argument sounds reasonable. Best statement is false. My mentor's words sound like heresy. Limits were established because it is dangerous to venture beyond. Each step past them could lead to a bloody slaughter. But the blessed Emernat was not afraid. So why'd you go to Rakad Minoris? I was summoned there by a message that was encrypted with the blessed Armanat's personal code and could be interpreted in several ways. One thing was certain. We were in danger and I had to go. So the tech priest, who was he? Assessing his personality is difficult. The spirit of Brother Abel is different from that of most people. The brothers of the Cog call such persons quiet ones. He possesses significant intellect but shuns communication. So far, I've not been able to determine why he summoned me to Rakad Minoris, how he's related to the blessed Emernat, or why he bears the same name as me. Perhaps Reverend Abel may not be fully able to actualize and interpret the relevant data. So, can you tell me, I'm just kind of curious what these options are. What do you mean by your guard? It's not buried treasure, it's not a secret. Okay. So, I have no more questions. So, it looks like if there are going to be early flirt lines, I don't think they're in. They might not be in yet. Or just, I mean, technically with Onric, that did kind of sort of sound like a flirt line. But I'm looking. Wait. Where's Adira? Right there. So I'm kind of curious if either it's just not the right time in the game for it, or if I've just missed them, or